Welcome. This is the Senior Safety Advice Podcast, and we are so glad that you've made it to a calmer corner of your day. Here, we focus on real solutions, practical help, and the kind of encouragement we could all use a little more of. So let's get to it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Daily Senior Safety Advice Podcast. We're going along with the theme of March is Mobility and Independence Month, and today we're going to talk about safe chair exercises that you can do at home. I'm Esther Kane, a retired occupational therapist and a certified aging in place specialist. So I want to say this right out of the gate here. Exercise does not have to mean standing, sweating, or risking a fall. Not at all. Some of the safest, most effective movements that you can do happen right in a chair. And honestly, this is actually one of my favorite topics because it helps so many people feel capable again. As an occupational therapist working with older adults, I often encourage chair exercises when the other forms of exercise just weren't feasible or safe. Some of the safest, most effective movements you can do, again, are right in a chair. What you hear a lot of from older adults is anything like, I'm afraid I'll fall if I exercise. Well, yeah, because they're thinking of jogging or running in place or any type of activity like that. Or they may say something like, I can't do what I used to do. Well, that may be true, but it doesn't mean that you can't do anything. So what I always would tell them is this: your body still wants to move. It just wants to feel safe while doing it. And that's where chair exercises come in. What I've noticed over the years is that when people stop moving because they're afraid, everything gets harder. Your strength tends to fade, your balance can slip, and of course, your confidence ends up dropping. And then everyday tasks start to feel overwhelming. So instead of avoiding movement, we bring it closer to home and safer. We bring it to a chair. And here's where this really matters. Chair exercises can improve circulation, joint movement, strength, posture, and even your mood, all without standing. So let's walk through this together. Some of the most basic and simple exercises that you can start off with. So first thing though, before we get to exercise, I do want to say the chair itself matters. You want a sturdy chair, nothing with wheels, nothing that swivels, and if possible, one with arms, because it just makes it a little easier and safer. All right. Feet flat on the floor at all times. Keep your back supported up against the back of the chair. If that's too far, then put a pillow back there like a lumbar pillow. And then that's it. You're ready to start. So let's start with something simple, a seated march. You're sitting tall in your chair, your nice sturdy chair. And if you have arms, it would be great to put your arms on those arms. You lift one knee up just a little, then set it down, and then the other knee, and that's it. And this helps to wake up your hips. It helps with circulation. It helps with the strength of your thigh muscles, and it connects directly to walking. And you keep marching in place while you're sitting. If you want to do it to music, that's great. I would always tell my patients that one way they can do it is while they're watching television. They could be sitting in a comfortable chair that's sturdy, and they can then march in place during the commercials. Although I will say nowadays the commercials are really long, so you may want to do it one or two commercials. Now, let's talk about leg strength because this is huge for getting out of chairs and staying independent. Straighten one leg out in front of you. Hold it for a second, then lower it back down, and then switch sides. You're working the muscles that help you stand, walk, and climb steps, and you're doing it safely because you're doing it from a chair. If you feel tired, you pause. No rush. Now, let's move up to the arms because upper body strength matters more than people actually think. You use your arms for balance, for pushing up from chairs, for catching yourself if you stumble. So here's an easy one. Seated arm raises. Lift one arm forward or up toward the ceiling, then bring it back down and switch arms. You don't have to lift high, just what feels comfortable. And if possible, if you can do it with a 1 pound weight, a 2 pound weight, or if you're fairly strong, a 5 pound weight or more. If you're holding these weights, or if you don't have weights, you can use soup cans or water bottles. That'd be fine too. But you don't necessarily need them. It just depends on what level you're at. It's the movement alone that really counts. Now, here's a favorite of mine for posture and breathing. I do this often because I work at a desk all day. Seated shoulder rolls. You're sitting down, posture up, and you roll your shoulders forward, and then you roll them back. And then you just keep doing that a few times, forward and back, and forward and back. And you can do it 5 times, 10 times, whatever you're comfortable with. This helps to open up the chest. It eases the tension in your neck, and it reminds your body what upright posture actually feels like. I myself can suffer from upper back pain, and that really helps me a lot. Now, let's talk about ankles and feet, because people usually forget about exercising ankles and feet. And actually, they're pretty critical for balance. So you can lift your toes up, but while both feet are flat on the ground, lift your toes up while keeping your heels down on the ground, and then lower them. And then lift your heels up while keeping your toes on the ground, and then lower them. And just keep going back and forth like this. You're just swinging back and forth. But what I would do is I would lift my toes up and hold for 1, 2, 3, and then put it down. Lift your heels up, 1, 2, 3, and hold it down. And if you're strengthening the muscles, that can strengthen the muscles to help prevent tripping. But if you want to strengthen your muscles even more, if you find the exercise too easy, then put a little weight on your knees so that when you're going up, especially with your toes down and your heels up, you're getting you're pushing up against some weight. You can also put one foot out and make gentle circles with your ankles. Some circles to the right and then some circles to the left, and make it slow and controlled. It's not meant to go fast. It's just the idea of giving it some movement. This is especially helpful if your feet feel stiff in the morning or maybe after sitting for a while. All right, now let's talk about core strength. That strength in the middle of your trunk without sit-ups or strain. You want to sit tall in your chair. You want to gently tighten your belly muscles like you're bracing for a cough. Hold for a few seconds and then relax. And you keep doing that. And I would do that several times, 3, 5, 10 times, whatever is comfortable for you. This helps to support the spine. It helps to strengthen those core muscles. It helps your posture. And it makes movements like reaching and standing a bit safer. Nothing extreme, just awareness. Now, here's something that I always like to add, a little stretch, and it's called seated reaching. You're going to take one arm while you're sitting up straight. You're going to reach with one arm across your body. So take your right arm and reach all the way to the left without turning your trunk, and then come back. And then do the same with the left arm and reach all the way to the right without turning your trunk, and then coming back. This helps with rotation, flexibility, coordination, and it connects to real life movements like reaching for something on a table. I would do several without turning the trunk, just so you can get that really good stretch in the upper body. And then I would do several with turning the trunk. That way you get a really good stretch along your core muscles, along your trunk. And honestly, these exercises don't have to be done all at once. You can do a few in the morning, a few during TV commercials, a few while you're waiting for the mug, the hot water in the microwave to boil for your coffee or tea. That's usually when I see people stick with it when you do a few exercises throughout the day. So if you're a caregiver for an older adult, this is something that the both of you can do together, side by side. No pressure, no comparison. Movement can become a shared time, not just another task. And here's something important that I want to say. If if any of these movements cause pain, dizziness, or discomfort, stop, rest, and adjust the movement. Of course, it's always important to speak with your physician and, if possible, get a physical therapist to come in to assess how you do these movements, because a lot of times we think we're doing our movements correctly, but we may not be. There may be a better way to do them. So don't be afraid to ask your doctor for a referral for physical therapy, either outpatient therapy or for a physical therapist to come to your home and just show you some of these exercises, these chair exercises that can help you with, to be more flexible and have decreased overall body pain. So over time, while you're doing these exercises, something really, really great tends to happen. You tend to trust your body again. You feel stronger, you feel more stable, and you're more willing to move. I mean, chair exercises can really help to reduce fall risk simply because people feel more prepared to move and they're not in that stiff kind of little achy pain that you feel as you get older. I know I certainly feel that every morning. And that's the goal at the end of the day, is to reduce the fall risk, feeling ready for life and not afraid of it. So start where you are, use what you have, and remember, movement doesn't have to be big and powerful. Well, that's all I have for you today. I want to thank you again so much for being here with me. If today's episode gave you some useful insights or some new ideas, then please share it with someone who might find it helpful as well. You can discover even more expert tips and helpful guides for seniors and caregivers at our website at seniorsafetyadvice.com. And if you're searching for an aging in place specialist or senior care services, then visit our other website at aginginplacedirectory.com. And come back tomorrow for more useful tips, insights, and ideas right here on the Daily Senior Safety Advice podcast. And hey, listen, if you haven't yet subscribed to our YouTube channel or the podcast yet, then please go ahead and do that right now, because that really helps us to reach more people who could use this kind of support and information. So until next time, take care of yourself and the ones that you love.
This podcast is part of our mission to help older adults live safely and independently. If you'd like to take the next step, visit aginginplacedirectory.com, where you'll find specialists, helpful resources, and inspiration to make every home your place to thrive.